Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm creating on an 8x10 wood panel. These are some of the supplies that I'll be using. Have a lovely cup of tea, trying to relax and just kind of let everything roll off and enjoy some creative time. These are a couple of the stencils I'll be using. My favorite lace stencil from Sean Petit, as well as one of her newer stencils. And then this beautiful chipboard. That says she has fire in her soul and grace in her heart. These are some of the background papers that I'll be using. There will be a blog post to go along with this piece called Fire and Grace. So I hope that you'll hop on over to my blog and take a look at that and read up on what the story is behind this piece. And these are the paints that I'll be using: golden fluid acrylics, my Liquitex matte medium to adhere all of my papers. Going pretty simple with the background, just using a few pages. So collaging is pretty intuitive, or not even intuitive. It's very simple, very repetitive. So I kind of skipped through that part. I used this whole page to cover the whole 8x10 surface, and then tear up some other scraps here also from SeanPetit.com from her collage packs. So I'm just applying those randomly around the page, some script to break up the background of that vintage wallpaper, and then adding a couple other elements, this little butterfly, as well as some other scrap pieces here in a moment. I really wanted the background to stay a little bit softer than I normally would go. I did kind of achieve that, but I mean, the piece turned out beautiful. I just really have a hard time with muted out colors, so I'm working on it. I don't think I really succeeded at that in this piece, but it turned out really good, and the process was really important for me. It gave me a lot of time to think and process. So, and then I did give that a thorough dry, and then I'm coming in with my Ranger Distress crackle paint and following the directions. In the past, I have not always followed the directions, and then I don't get good crackle. And so that was just, I was just mixing up that paint as per the instructions. And so I'll just be applying that with my palette knife all over the canvas. I do cut out part of this because, again, it's very repetitive. And then here's a close-up, hoping that you can catch that texture. It just really pretty much looks wet at this point. It's hard to see the crackle until you start getting some pieces on it or some color on it. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I want to color those, and decided that I was going to go ahead and take them outside and spray them with some spray gesso. So that's what I did. And I can't take my camera out there because it's a webcam. So I did step away and took care of that. And those are just drying now. Coming in with transparent yellow oxide fluid acrylic and just applying that with my finger here and there around the canvas. I really wanted it to have a sunny look, and even though the final project still ended up kind of dark, it did have a lot of a glow to it with this beautiful yellow iron oxide. It's a beautiful transparent color, and as you'll see in some of the close-up pictures, it's absolutely gorgeous, and it really made this piece it felt very deep, but also very light. I don't know if those two things actually go together. Well, actually, I do know they go together. And you'll be able to hear more about that in my blog. So I'll be writing about what my thought process was behind this piece. And it's kind of about quarantine and kindness and using our voice and all of those things that we need to do when we need to take care of things, but we also need to be doing those things with a lot of grace. And I'm not always really good at that. So I had to kind of take a step back and work on that this last week. So I came in with some Titan Buff just because I wanted to really keep this light. And I'll show you a close-up here in a second where some of that Titan Buff caught on the texture there. Just absolutely beautiful. And there you can see some of the crackle. As we move along, because I'm drying from layer to layer, the crackle just becomes more and more evident as the project moves along. So I did come in with some teal, and this is, again, golden fluid acrylic. I like the teal because it's lighter than what I traditionally go for, which is the cobalt turquoise. But the teal is a lot more opaque. So I really was going back and forth a lot because I didn't want it to really look heavy and thick. And so I'd apply it and then wipe it back just to leave a little bit of a hint of that. And so you'll see me doing that a lot through this project. I'm going back and forth between the transparent yellow oxide and the teal. I'm just trying to get a good balance for color, the color that I was looking for in the project. So, and then again, drying between every layer because I wanted to be sure I didn't get any kind of strange color. Although I would have just kind of gotten a green, but I really wanted to maintain the teal and the yellow. I do see a little bit of green even looking at this now as I'm doing the voiceover. And so, yeah, it's really beautiful. You can't really go wrong with mixing those two colors. So wasn't what I intended, but it looks like I did get a little bit of green mix there. And then just again, coming back in with that transparent yellow oxide, and just lightening up, really wanted it to be really bright and sunny. Not sunny as in like the sun, but light as in truth and kind of that balance between light and heavy things. Again, as you'll see or be able to read in the blog that will be on my website. You want to check that out. It's at B.Reborn.art.com. And there you can see the beautiful crackle. Just love this. I love this technique. I need to order some more crackle paint because this is running out. And I really like the Ranger or the Distress crackle paint because it's clear. And a lot of other crackle paint is white. And so I really like this because it kind of gives this like glass or glossy finish to that texture. And I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So here I'm coming in with a glaze using my burnt umber light and my glazing medium from Golden. I'm going to give that a really good coat. And again, I do cut out part of this because it's pretty simple. I just gave a thorough coat to the whole surface and then wiped it back with paper, with a baby wipe. And then I come back in because I really liked how it was catching in those cracks, especially at the bottom there. And so I came in using up the rest of it that was on my mat anyway, and gave it another coat, another light coat. And then the second time I wiped back, I did more of a pouncing movement, and it didn't remove quite as much. And I really liked that effect. So I'm not sure why I kept coming back to white in that top center section, but it was all right. I don't know if maybe the crackle paint wasn't quite dry and it's being affected by the moisture. I'm not sure. So I did move that off to dry. And here is my gessoed chipboard. And again, the chipboard sentiment says, she has fire in her soul and grace in her heart. And so I'm coming in with my teal, the golden fluid acrylic, and giving a good coat to both that circular feather deal and then the sentiment here. And I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. It did only require one coat. And as you'll see as I move along, I do end up trying to grunge that up a little bit with some burnt umber light. But in the end, you'll see what happens. It was kind of a mess, just in trying to experiment and figure out what was going to really make that sentiment pop up off of my background. So now I'm coming in with my, I got my larger ink pad out because it has 4 colors in it, and I chose the Vintage Photo and Jean Petit's Lace stencil, and I'm just going to go ahead and use that stencil around various places on the surface here. And I really liked this. This was different for me. Usually I use black, and I really liked this. I think it helped to create that lighter, softer effect to the piece. And so I was really pleased with that. And then I do come in after this with my black archival ink and use another one of her stencils. Oh, there's the close-up. Sorry. Use another one of her stencils. It's her. I'll put it in the on my blog, in the list of supplies. I can't remember the name of the stencil off the top of my head, but it's just a multiples kind of script stencil, which I really like for the background. Oh, it's called. Oh, I can't even see it. It's not all punched out. But anyway, I will make sure it's in the supply list so that if you want to check it out, you can go ahead and hop over to her website and take a look. So I'm just applying that again, kind of randomly around the piece, just in a few places. I really like the effect that the script has on any project. I think it's just really elegant. And as I've referenced before, I think somewhat mysterious, which gives it a really cool feel, I think, almost like journaling, but I don't know really what it says. So I really like it. This is the first time I've used the stencil, and I'm really, really pleased with it. When I did try to clean it here, just as soon as I was done, I was already having some of the lines bend and stuff. But since I'm just using it for background, I'm not too concerned about it. So again, coming in with some more teal because I really wanted that. I didn't want that the focal pieces to be too bright. And when I was looking at it, I felt like they were. And so here I'm coming in with some burnt umber light. And this must have been a little bit tacky here because when I went to wipe it off, I couldn't really move it in some places. And so I was able to resolve that by just coming back in with a little bit of teal over those really dark spots. And I do cut out a lot of this because, again, it's repetitive. So I'm just basically grunging up both that feather circle thing and the entire sentiment because I was thinking that it was too bold. The teal was just too bold on its own to go on the canvas. But you'll see in the end, I do end up painting it back to teal because it just wasn't really showing up very well on the piece when I started to position it. And so now I'm coming in with my burnt umber light, and I thought, well, those are getting good and dry. Before I adhere them, I'll go ahead and paint all of my edges. And so that's what I was doing there. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply, it looks like more transparent yellow oxide. This process video was a little bit choppy because I was supposed to be on a call for my grandson's birthday is today. So we did a birthday parade in front of his house, and then we were supposed to get on a call and all visit and sing him happy birthday and have a cupcake and all of that. And I lost track of time, and so I had to scramble. I had people calling me on my phone, but my finger was covered with paint, so I couldn't answer my phone because it's a fingerprint touch thing. And I was just like, oh my goodness, it was silliness. And so anyway, I just wanted to bring in a little bit more of that yellow oxide. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere those chipboard pieces with my heavy gel. And again, I did cut out a lot of this process because I'm basically just giving it a good layer on the back with a small brush. And I wish that there was some magical adhesive that I could just set this chipboard in and then just pick it up and it would just stick on my surface because this heavy gel is just messy. And so you'll see as I push it down that it kind of begins to ooze out. And so I call those glue boogers and I don't like them to show in the final project. So once I kind of wipe it up and push it down with the baby wipe, I'm coming in with a small brush and then just getting rid of all those boogers so that they're not clumpy. Even though they do dry clear, I don't like the look. And here I'm just playing with the positioning of my sentiment. And then I went ahead and did the same process, applied the heavy gel to the back of that. I did have a little bit of challenge with this because I was overlapping that circle, and I would probably rethink that and do it a little bit differently in the future, but it was fine for this. And this is at the point where I really decided that it needed to be brightened up, that the teal, that muted down color was just not bright enough, and it just wasn't popping off of the surface like I wanted. So coming back in with the straight teal, it's the fluid golden acrylic again, and just giving a good coat to all of the letters. It went pretty fast. I was using a fairly small pointed brush, so it wasn't any trouble at all. And I was really glad that I did that. It's very vibrant. The piece is very vibrant and very bright, and I was really, really happy with it. And then coming in just as a last step with a little bit more teal, and really wanting that to be the focal color on this piece, hopefully tying all of the whole piece together. But again, here you can see in that lower right-hand corner how very opaque it is. And I wasn't super thrilled with that, but I just had to work with it because I wasn't going to scrub back and risk damaging the surface underneath this paint. So I just went with it. And then the last thing that I'll be doing is coming around with my my Soho black soft pastel. And you're going to see me do that here in just a second. There's just another close-up. I hope that you enjoyed the video and the process, and I hope that you learned something. And I hope that you'll head on over to my website at B.Rebornart.com and check out the blog. Again, it's called Fire and Grace. And I hope that it will be inspirational to you as I've been processing through this quarantine time and just some of the human behavior that we deal with. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope that you'll like and subscribe and come back and visit real soon. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.